You know,
I'll tell you what, man. It is good to come in. Here you sit, going on the road. Browns, we've talked about it, what they've got to deal with. The pieces, you can say limited talent. You can say, oh, I looked at the roster and it doesn't look very good. They're going to show up. They're going to play, and they beat you a year ago. They can beat you this year, too, if you don't show up and do what you got to do, and that's what you do, man. This is where we do the dog bone thing, and I said, no fair, because somebody sent me a comment when I said Ryan's got the dog bones, and then somebody sent me a message on Facebook, said, show up. I'm like, no, that cannot be one of them. You can't just show up and win this game. But what do the Browns have to do to win this bad boy? They've done a lot of good things early on, but it's each week you forget about it. It moves on. You can't live in beating the Steelers. You can't live in beating Tennessee. That's done. I don't care if the jersey's in the Hall of Fame. Those games are over, and we have Jacksonville coming up this week. So are you ready to lay down some dog bones, my friend?
absolutely, J-Rock. You brought back the bad memory of the Cecil Shorts double move last year against Joe Hayden to all but seal the game. So, yeah, let's get after these dog bones. I think, you got to love the Browns matchup. You got to love the figures and the stats, but kind of like after the Wednesday press conference, he said, don't look at these numbers. Look at this team, look at this Jacksonville team and how it schemes and how we need to prepare to face those schemes and how they affect the Cleveland Browns. And I thought that was a great quote that he said.
Yeah, and they're fighting. I mean, you really, if you have watched their last couple of weeks, Jacksonville, I said it when we previewed just the last segment, they are improved since they've put Bortles in. They have improved little by little, week by week, and they're right where a team, and the Browns have been here plenty of times before. Let's get that first victory. Dan Wismar said it best. He said at the beginning of this season, when every fan base and everybody's out there playing the schedule game, they were playing the schedule game and looking at the Browns as a winnable opportunity. Now, granted, maybe that's changed the way the Browns have played, but they're going into this game trying to win. So let's lay out some dog bones. 3 things that if they happen, Browns are walking out of Jacksonville with a 3-game winning streak. Dog bone number 1.
All right, J-Rock, dog bone number 1. Real simple. Protect Brian Hoyer. Browns' offensive line, we all know that it's been exceptional in protecting Hoyer this year. In 5 games, Hoyer's been sacked only 6 times. 3 of those sacks were against the Steelers in the open.
Yep.
Jacksonville may be horrible in just about every statistical category, but they're an 0-16 that's tied for second in the league in sacks with 19 of them, J-Rock. The Jaguars have some Bulldogs up on that front line. Chris Clemens, Derek Marks, Andre Branch. They got Red Bryant. Combined, those 4 players have 8 sacks out of those 19. I think what's impressive about Jacksonville is the fact that they have at least 11 players with 1 sack or more. We all know that Gus Bradley coaches them, a former Seattle Seahawks coach, and he brings the pressure from all places. With now the Browns losing Alex Mack, their main anchor, this revamped offensive line is they're going to have a test this week. If they respond like they did against Pittsburgh, I think the Browns are going to be just fine. I believe that if Hoyer is given time, he'll pick apart the weak Jacksonville secondary, and that's a secondary that ranks 30th. Protecting Brian Hoyer, keeping him upright, minimizing the hits on him will be huge for this contest. And if they can do that, this offense is going to continue to roll. Dog bone number 1 is protect Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, we were talking about that, Jeff and I, in the previous segment as well. That's going to be key, is keeping those guys off, as you brought up, some of those guys, Marks, and they definitely get after the quarterback a bit. 19 sacks for the team. And on the flip side, they have a sieve of an offensive line, so the Browns need to be just as aggressive and try to get after Bortles and harass him. But when they do, they've got to make sure that they bring him down. But I agree with you. I think that you look at the fact that defense has 1 interception all season. They're not a very good pass coverage defense. The numbers all show that, but the play on the field shows it more than just the numbers. If Brian Hoyer is able to sit back and pass against this team, he will pick them apart. That's not any type of a optimistic outlook. If Brian Hoyer can just stand back there and throw the ball, then the Jaguars defense is in for a long day.
Absolutely, J-Rock. The Brian Hoyer, like I said, I believe that Brian Hoyer will pick apart the Jacksonville secondary as long as he's given the time. And there's no reason to believe that he won't get the time just like he has in the last 5 games.
All right, that's dog bone number 1. Keep Brian Hoyer on his feet. And I'll tell you what, that's dog bone number 1 for the whole season. That is the game changer right there, baby. Dog bone number 2.
All right, dog bone number 2. Dog bone number 2 is something that we're all familiar with here in Cleveland. And dog bone number 2 is make Blake Bortles play like a rookie quarterback. What do I mean by that? Cleveland and their fans have been where the I look at this Jaguars team and like, wow, the Browns were once this team. They had a known rookie who had success in college, who'd come in, take over the reins at quarterback. There are positive and negative signs with Bortles, like you mentioned. With the Browns, it's usually more negative than positive. You need examples. See Luke McCown, Charlie Fry, Brady Quinn, Colt McCoy, Brandon Weeden. How teams beat the Browns with a young quarterback was by making the Browns rookie quarterback play like a rookie quarterback. This is what Cleveland must do at Everbank Field on Sunday. The 3rd overall pick in the draft, Blake Bortles, is 0-3 on the season. He's thrown 7 interceptions, and part of Bortles' failure so far is the Jaguars have produced 0 running game. Yep. They are almost worse than the Cleveland Browns last year. Bortles is trying to win without a reasonable running game, which leaves the other predictable and leaves them one-dimensional. Jacksonville is talented with young, raw receiving core, and they drafted 2 receivers, Marquise Lee and Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson was somebody, if you could remember, I mocked him in one of my mock drafts. I liked him. I thought he was a good fit for the Browns. He's got 30 receptions on the year, J-Rock. Before the draft, like I said, I thought Robinson was a perfect match. Bortles and company are -8 in the turnover ratio. So opportunities are going to be there. I have a feeling that this is a week that Joe Hayden could get his first interception. The Browns must make Bortles beat him by himself. The rookie from Central Florida is also very much going to be like Jake Locker was when the Browns played Tennessee. He has the ability to run, and on the year he's averaging exactly what Jake Locker is averaging in his career, 6.6 yards per carry is where Bortles is with 113 rushing yards this season. Cleveland's got to be aware of his ability to run when the pocket breaks down, and we got to find a way to contain the outside edge. Bortles has a 76.8 QB rating, like exceptions, and Jeff Gorman was right on. It's 67 completion percentage. Yep. So Bortles play like a rookie quarterback. That's happened too many times in the past to the Cleveland Browns.
I agree with you. Big there. Big. And getting him down because it's scary when you go, he's going to do like Locker, because Locker was doing some things and the Browns weren't getting him down, man. You cannot let that kid be out there, be Baby Ben against you, as people like to call him. Cannot have that happen. And I agree with you there for sure. And that's part of where I said on the flip side, this offensive line has given up 27 sacks on the season, and I expect the Browns' defensive line to attack. I know last week they simplified the defense a bit to contain those big runs. This week, I expect some of those blitzes to be put back in. I think they're going to attack the weakness of that team, and it's the offensive line and the fact that they do not have a running. We know firsthand here last year how difficult it is for anybody. I don't care who the quarterback is. Jason Campbell played decent for the Browns. When you don't have any threat of a running game at all, it's practically impossible to win games in the NFL, as we saw firsthand. And that really is where that's their big weakness. If they had a running game, Bortles would be okay. They've got some good receivers. I mean, Cecil Shorts can play. And Robinson, and you've seen Hearns, he blew up in the early part of the season. And they got Marquise Lee, who they drafted as well. Those are guys that we're familiar with from the draft. But they've got, and Clay Harbor seems to be a decent tight end emerging for them. So they've got weapons offensively, but they got an offensive line that can't block anybody, and a running game that they, for some reason, tried to build around Toby Gerhart, whatever, man. I don't understand that one, but that to me is just the bottle up right there, the offensive line and the running game. I mean, that's going to prevent a lot of the growth that offense is going to do over there. All right, Dawg Bone number 3, my man Dingo.
Everything you just said, J-Rock, leads perfectly into Dawg Bone number 3, and that is make this team one-dimensional. I mean, they've already proven it on the year, but here's the thing. The Cleveland Browns are giving up almost 150 yards on the ground every game. You know, you can say they blew away Pittsburgh, but they still gave up some good yards to Le'Veon Bell, and they're giving up 149 a game, 150 a game. So I believe it will be in Jacksonville's DNA this weekend to try to commit to the run and try to balance it off. So Dawg Bone number 3 is keep this team one-dimensional. Last season, the Browns passed the ball more than any other team in the NFL. The Jaguars are very similar in that respect. Like you mentioned, the Jaguars are averaging 69.5 yards on the ground. That's good for dead last in the league. Cleveland is 30th against the run with those numbers I mentioned, 149.6 yards per game. You know, Austin Carr, if you're a big Cavs fan, Austin Carr is always on FSN, and he says, we can't make all-stars out of these somewhat average players. So that's how I feel about this game with their running backs. Minnesota Vikings cast off Toby Gerhart. Come on.
Right.
Storm Johnson, who played at Central Florida with Blake Bortles. I mean, that's their backfield. And then they're gonna throw in Denard Robinson, the Michigan Wolverine, the shifty back, every once in a while. So, I mean, you can't let them be all-stars. You cannot make all-stars out of this Jacksonville backfield. Jacksonville's averaging 3.5 yards per carry. They've only attempted to run 118 times this season in 6 games. On the season, Jacksonville scored just twice on the ground. So the Orange and Brown, they must take the running game out of the Jaguars' repertoire this weekend. And making the Jacksonville Jaguars one-dimensional is key in this contest. This game isn't going to be a shootout, J-Rock. The Browns are going to be able to cruise if they're only having to worry about a 22nd ranked Jaguars passing attack. But like I said, let's not forget what happened last year with the double move of Cecil Shorts on Joe Hayden, because we do not want to see that this week, obviously. So Dawg Bone number 3 is keep this team one-dimensional. Make Blake Bortles beat you. I think the Browns can defend the pass well and take the running game away from Jacksonville.
Keep Brian Hoyer on his feet. Make Blake Bortles look like a rookie quarterback and make Jacksonville one-dimensional. If you do that, chalk it up and put it in a bowl. The Browns are coming back with a 3-game winning streak to the shores of Lake Erie. Ryan Ruiz, you wrap it up in a bow. Give me your prediction here. I'm pretty sure the clean sweep is coming. Who do you got winning this one?
J-Rock, I'm 2-3 on the season. I got my second win last
going
week.
For 500.
So I'm going for 500. No cardiac game this week, J-Rock. We're going to go with Cleveland 27, Jacksonville 13. I don't think it's close. I think
there we go.
Gets their point placed. I think this Browns team is going to run away with this game.
That may be the first. It's been a while since we've had a clean sweep across the panel, and I'm not just talking about this season. I think going back to last year. I'm trying to think when the last time we had. I don't know, but odds are we probably got it wrong then too. So hopefully we don't have it wrong this year. It may have been Jacksonville last year. We may have all went. Yeah, no, I think by that point, somebody was already like, no, they'll find a way to blow it. So, I don't know. It's been a while since we've had a unanimous panel here. But then again, it's been a while since the Browns have done a lot of things that they're doing so far this season. It's kind of fun. We'll see what happens this week. It would be nice to come back Monday and just go, hey, the Browns just did what we expected them to do. Like you said, no cardiac moment, no lads a win. And I don't care if you win by 1 or if you win by 100. But, boy, would it be fun to just be like the Steelers game. By halftime, you're like, well, I'm only watching the second half because I want to, man, because this game's over. You know, that's what I would prefer to see. So